What's going on, guys? Seth here. I'm gonna do a quick video on my new motorcycle. I didn't talk in the other video, but a little backstory. So, I haven't been on a motorcycle in 25 years. So the last one I had was a Suzuki Katana 600. And this one is a Kawasaki Ninja 500. The amount of improvements they have made on these bikes in the last 20 something years is just ridiculous. So let me get to it. I had that Katana, the bike, for about not even a year. And I totaled it by doing something stupid. It wasn't the best bike in the world. It had issues. It didn't want to start half the time. And it wasn't comfortable. It was very, very top heavy. And I don't know. It just never did suit me. And I wasn't the strongest rider in the start with. I never had dirt bikes when I was a kid. I had four-wheelers and go-karts, but never, two wheels. So I totaled the bike, and by doing something stupid, I was at a four-way stop, and I made a right turn, and then before I was back up straight, and I was still learning. I'm still learning now. I had the basics down, but anyway, I gunned the gas a little too hard, and as I was going down the road, I patched over a big patch of loose sand in the middle of the road, which if I had been straight up and down and not flooring it, I would have passed over it fine. But the back tire here spun out. The bike went this way. My hand was, of course, on the throttle, so I hit like this and broke my wrist, fell backwards, and landed on my back and slid a little bit. I was only probably in second gear when I did that, and I didn't go very far, but it still hurt. When the bike landed, it landed on its side, and it hit with such force. I didn't have any slide bars on or anything like that, or whatever they're called, to protect the bike, which I plan on getting some of those for this bike. But anyway, so it messed up all the internals. I did get it started just long enough to get back home, and then the insurance ruled it as totaled, and I never got on the bike again. And as a man, when you have something like that happen to you, especially with a hobby that you like so good, you feel like you failed yourself by, losing your bike for one, and then losing it over something stupid for another thing. Now, if someone had hit me while I was parked, or someone stole the bike, whatever, I would have looked at it differently, but it was my fault. It was my screw up that cost me a motorcycle. And I've been debating for years if I want to get back on another one. Obviously, I couldn't when I was living at home, because my parents were, after that, they were like, no, don't even talk to us about it. So when I moved out, I was on the third floor of the first apartment building that I lived in, and I couldn't obviously have a motorcycle there. I mean, I probably could have, but I didn't have anywhere, secured. It wasn't outside my door. It had to be like down 3 flights of stairs, and it could have gotten stolen very easily. Plus, I didn't have the money or the nerve at the time. So, been watching a lot of TikToks in the last couple of years, and it just saw a couple of videos, especially of the Ninja 500. This is a very popular bike. So is the 400. And I got the itch again, and I had to scratch it. So I went down to Capital Cycle here in Macon and bought the bike. The sticker price was about $54.99. Of course, they're going to tack on a lot more shit than that, with registration, title, this, that, and the third, this kind of fee, that kind of fee. So overall, the bike's going to cost me about $7,000, and I'm going to pay it off. Hey, how you doing? We're going to pay it off eventually this year. So it's my neighbor. And anyway, that's enough of that. So anyway, so the specs on the bike it's a 500, but it's actually a 450. They just rounded up at Kawasaki, I guess. and I'm parking it outside my door. That's my door right there. And I lock the wheel and also park it in gear so they can't roll it and they can't turn the handles. Now, obviously, if you wanted to steal this thing and you had like 4 or 5 guys in a truck, it wouldn't be impossible, but it'd be more aggravating than it's worth. The weight on this bike's a lot less than my Ninja, or at least it feels that way. Maybe it's because I'm older, I'm bigger, I don't know. But the Suzuki Katana just felt top heavy. It never did handle right. This thing is very forgiving. I've made some mistakes, not to where I've dropped the bike. I haven't done that yet, knock on wood. I haven't even stalled on it. I've learned where the friction zone is. If you don't know what that means, it's basically when you're letting off the clutch and the bike starts to grab and go by itself, and then you can apply throttle and move on. Anyway, so I'm avoiding busy streets. Like, it's like almost midnight. I just took it for a ride with no cars on the road. And, just relearning basics, relearning counter steering. If you don't know what counter steering is, it's when you're going above about 20 miles an hour and say you want to turn right. You would just push, as stupid as it sounds, you would push this forward and the bike would go to the right. It's called counter steering. Now, obviously, if you're just trying to change lanes, you can just lean the bike and it'll do it. But if you're trying to get into a turn, especially if you're going about 20 miles an hour in a parking lot, counter steering is perfect for that. If you're going about, I say about 5 or 10, then you can actually move the forks like a bicycle because you're going that slow and you don't have the momentum to do that with. These things are all about physics, believe it or not. It's like it's harder to dump a bike when you're going fast than it is when you're going slow because you have that momentum, unless you hit a car or you hit a oil slick or something like that. But if you're going on a dry road with nothing in front of you and you're going at good speed, unless you just forcefully wreck, you're not going to wreck. That's not to say there ain't danger out there. You got to drive like you're invisible, but I'm getting way off topic. Anyway, so I talked to my wife about me getting this thing, and she, agreed to let me have it without fussing too much. And I am just so thankful that I've redeemed myself. I've got back on one. I've been safe. I've been careful. I've used common sense. I've been watching a lot of tutorial videos, learning things that I didn't know. I'm still learning. Counter steering is one of those things that you have to make yourself do. It's kind of like when you're in backyard cutting and using a katana. Your left hand is your power hand and your right hand is the guide. It's kind of like that. It feels awkward at first, but then you're like, oh, I see why you got to do that. Because the results you get are a lot better. Now, I mean, sure, you can turn without counter steering. You're going to turn wide and you got to go really, really, really slow. But, the more you learn, the better you'll be. And it's really awesome. It's like my old bike. In fact, I think it's like a new thing. I'm not going to turn it on because I just got back. I'm letting it cool down. But most bikes back then didn't have a fuel gauge. You had to like shake the tank or just look in there and see how much gas you have. But this thing actually has a fuel gauge on it. It's got Bluetooth and everything. And as far as the power on it, it handles the interstate really great. The story goes, yesterday, I bought it and then I realized I had to drive it home in like heavy traffic, everybody getting off from work. And I was scared out of my mind. I hadn't been on a bike in 25 years, but took my time, made friends with it, learned the friction zone, eased onto the road, stayed in my lane, avoided traffic. I didn't take any chances pulling out. I took my time. I probably pissed off a few people by, stopping at stop signs a little too long or taking too long to launch from a red light. But oh well, this is my life and you can wait a damn minute. Anyway, guys, that's what I've been up to lately. I'm happy with my bike. I love it. It's my baby. Unfortunately, the forecast for the weather is going to be raining for the next 7 or 8 days. So I got in a little practice tonight down some side streets and with nobody on the road. It did rain earlier, but the road finally got a little bit dry so I could take it out. Anyway, guys, figured you could get a kick out of that. And of course, it's a Ninja. You guys know I love me some Ninjas. I've never been really a fan of green, but on this bike, it really works for me. And I always wanted a Kawasaki Ninja. That's where I really wanted when I was getting the Katana, but, you know, live and learn. This is the bike that fits me. It's fast enough for me. It handles the interstate like a dream. You'll keep up with traffic. You know, if you think you're going to go 180 miles an hour down the interstate like you see on these YouTube videos on this thing, that's not going to happen. Top end's about 125, but honestly, why would you ever need to go faster than that? I mean, or even that fast. I'm not trying to be YouTube famous. I'm not trying to be the next Ghost Rider. I'm not trying to do any of that stuff. I'm trying to have a little bit of fun. And that's about it. And one more thing, I am almost 2 weeks sober. Go me. And with the money I'm going to save on beer, I actually calculated how much I spend on beer a month. It's about $600. So guess what that's going toward now? Bike payment. Anyway, guys, I'll take it up to your time. We will see you in the next video. Peace. And if you're a biker, ride safe. 2 wheels down. We'll see you next time.